Brice?
So first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, have the opportunity to express some ideas. Let's see how far we can move them. And in many discussions I do have around the world around climate solution, we see Denmark, and I keep hearing Denmark as one of the good examples to follow or to copy with pride. So I think we should keep pushing that and increasing the leadership and even at some point of time the competitive edge of Denmark using these new technologies. And this trend-setting leadership is needed because on a worldwide basis, as we heard it today, we are not yet on the path that will achieve greenhouse gas reduction enough to prevent the further warming as we expected. So emission growth has actually accelerated in the past decade, and the world, particularly in rapidly growing economies, is hungry for more electricity. I mean, we know that and we read that every day. But it is projected going forward that a cumulative power sector investment over the next roughly 20 years will be in the vicinity of $40 trillion. So it's money to be made and to come on the business model and the winner. It is money there. Now, as we are most of us entrepreneurs around, it is a possibility to get there. Now the question is, how do we do that? So this will likely lead to more emission if the chance has not made, but again, it is possibility to make it happen. Now consider that although electricity consumption only represents 17% of the final energy used today, it leads still to 40% of the CO2 emissions. So this is largely due to the fact that almost 70% of the electricity is produced from fossil fuels. We know that. There is where the important technology such as smart grid will play a key role how to optimize that. Now, I will not enter in this debate what is smart grid because I think everybody of us around that room might have a different definition and that might take some time. Direct and directly smart grid operating benefits will help at least to leverage the peak loads, which will definitely help to improve the investment environment and to reduce it even. But the indirect benefit will be very important too, and those are the result of the deployment of other technologies which require the capability of a smart grid to be fully realized. For example, smart grids will be needed to support greater integration of renewables and the wider introduction of electrical vehicles. While fully developed smart grids are still in the future, many aspects are now being also already put into practice. ABB is actively engaged in more than 20 projects worldwide across all the aspects covered by smart grids, from energy storage, network management, and so on. Now, one notable example, the Royal Seaport project, which is going on as we speak together with a cooperation partner, Fortum, in Sweden, is a perfect opportunity to test the smart grid environment and envision how people will live in the future. It is flexible, low-emission powered network in a former industrial area in Stockholm, which is now one of the Europe's largest urban regeneration projects. In terms of scale, the Royal Seaport project marks a big step forward in the development of a smarter and more flexible urban grid that can integrate distributed and renewable energy sources and accommodate an electrical vehicle infrastructure. So, we also hoped to establish a community of active consumers in Stockholm, so involving people. This will mean equipping both residential and commercial premises with energy management technologies to enable consumers to monitor and control the way they use power today. The aim would be to minimize waste, spread energy consumption across the day, avoiding periods of peaks demand whenever possible. So, just one example, but much more to be done around that. Now, coming to the suggestion what could be done more. I think real progress will take a commitment at all levels. So it's not only one stakeholder, but it will be government, industry, and all the public, which need to be involved and to commit to that. So we talk about to facilitate greater industry leadership through the development of technology roadmaps, like the Danish one, but on the technology side, and public-private partnerships. We talk about investment in training and education, increasing the awareness around environmental needs, to also increase, to be honest, the pressure on politicians, on decision makings, because when the public wants it, it will also come better through. We talk about communicating to the public, but also the industry, this urgency. So we talk about the need to strengthen international collaboration and to accelerate R&D and investments. Now, that should cover renewables, but also energy efficiency. So we talk about a very bright spectrum of solutions needed and opportunities. Finally, I think it is important that in pursuing a greener world, we also walk the talk. So it starts with ourselves and not only the others and pointing fingers. I think everybody of us, we could start walk the talk and demonstrate that we believe in it. As a company, we are deeply committed to that, and having more than 50% of our research aiming at increasing energy efficiency, it is already setting the path and trying to address the opportunities we see in front of us. Now, we are also continuously expanding our own energy and greenhouse gas emission savings program. Our new target for this year is to achieve a reduction per employee of 2.5% a year, meaning we want to reduce our own emission and going forward. So at the end, we believe that every contribution is important. Again, thank you for being here and looking forward to a good discussion. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brice. Lots of concrete suggestions there, but I also heard you between the lines say that you think we're ready for demonstration projects. And I think it would be interesting in the discussion if we kind of got into a discussion about what the catalyst should be, how do you get them going, is that the public-private partnerships and so on. That could be an angle that we could follow up on later maybe.